Everyone, welcome to another episode. So today's question is: you're given a string which takes in three types of characters. One is opening bracket, another one is closing bracket, and an asterisk. So we need to write a function to see whether the string is valid or not. So what are the rules of this problem? Any left parenthesis should have a corresponding right parenthesis. It says like if anything close opens up, then you need to close it. Similarly, any right parenthesis must have a corresponding left parenthesis, and left parenthesis must obviously go before the right. Okay, and asterisk can be treated as a right parenthesis or a left parenthesis or an empty string, and empty string is also valid. So in this case, first case, if you see, we have a closing parenthesis and opening parenthesis, so it's true. Awesome. In another case, we see we have opening parenthesis, asterisk, and a closing parenthesis, so it's also true because I can consider asterisk as an empty string. In third case, I have opening, asterisk, and two closing, so I think we can consider asterisk as an opening parenthesis. That balances this out. Let's look at few approaches that we can try here. So I'll take the third input to start with as my example. So generally, questions where we involve parentheses and all, I can prefer to use stack. So let's say we have an empty stack, and I first insert opening parenthesis, so it will have opening parenthesis. Next I encounter an asterisk, so let's say I enter it this as well. Now when I encounter a closing bracket, uh, I would need to balance it out. So what I'll do is I'll pop something out. So I'll pop asterisk out of it. So my right now my I'm iterating at this point, and I pop out asterisk. So my stack contains the opening bracket. Now next iteration comes here, so I pop this out as well, and then the stack is empty. And because stack is empty, I can be sure that everything was balanced, and I return true. But this case might fail, I think, in this scenario. Let's say I have a string opening, asterisk, closing. So I enter the opening bracket, and then I encounter asterisk. So I have asterisk also in the stack, right? Now when I encounter a closing bracket, I pop asterisk out. So the stack contains this, but my looping is over. So stack is not empty. So according to my logic, it's not balanced, but it is balanced because I can consider asterisk as an empty string. So what I feel, we can think of asterisk as a backup plan. Like if we don't find a corresponding opening parenthesis, then I can use asterisk as my opening parenthesis, right? So obviously it can be used as a closing parenthesis also. So let me write it down. So asterisk can be used as a empty space, as a opening parenthesis, and a closing parenthesis. Now I would certainly approach it in a greedy way, in the sense, being greedy in the sense, when I encounter a closing bracket, I would first look for a opening bracket, and if I don't find an opening bracket, then I would look for an asterisk. If I don't find an asterisk, I know that there is no corresponding opening or asterisk that I can use it as an opening bracket, so I can return false. So what I'm trying to say is, look for opening first, then look for asterisk. In case of closing bracket, when I encounter a closing bracket, do this, right? Let's say I have a case like this. That's it, these two. So in this case, I would like to use asterisk as a closing bracket, right? So this scenario is for if we have closing bracket. What if I have a case like this, which is opening bracket and an asterisk? So in this case, what I'll do is I'll check, okay, my all the closing brackets have been balanced till now. So that part is empty. I have a closing bracket in my stack. Let's say I have another stack or another array for asterisks. So I keep looping them out, popping them out till they are in equal numbers. Also there is a condition that closing bracket should appear before a closing bracket or an asterisk. So let's say I'll take a clean sheet. Let's say I keep two stacks. One is for this, one is for asterisks, right? And here both I'm storing the integer index. So I just insert index in there, and as I encounter closing bracket, I would first pop this, and then if I don't have any opening bracket, then I pop asterisks. I'm just being greedy. Like greedily I will keep on popping the opening brackets. If I am done with opening brackets, then I pop out asterisks. And if both empty, right, if both empty, then return false, because there is no corresponding opening or asterisk for my closing bracket. Now for scenarios like where closing bracket is done, I'm done with closing bracket. So in that case, because I am storing the indexes, I'll keep popping out my asterisk and closing bracket as long as index of this is less than index of this. So basically index of closing bracket is less than asterisk, because then only I can use asterisk as a closing bracket, right? So I just keep popping them. So basically there are two things to take care. One is, if I have a closing bracket, I check for opening bracket. If opening bracket is empty, I check for asterisk. If that is empty, I return false. Once this is done, I check if these both are empty or not. If they are not empty, I keep on popping uh, opening bracket and asterisk at the same time till the index of opening bracket is less than the asterisk. If not, then I return false, right? Let's try to see it in code approach. I think the overall time complexity can be will be often, because I will be iterating over this part once. So let me take two stack t1 and stack t2. Now I iterated over the string. So if s of I equals to opening bracket, right, then I do if if stack one dot empty. So stack one I'm using for opening bracket and using for asterisk, right? So if st dot empty is not empty, then I pop out st1 dot pop. Else if st2 dot is not empty, then I do st2 dot pop. And if both of them are empty, obviously then I have to return false, because it's not balanced. Else if my string is opening bracket, I simply insert it into the stack, s of I. Else obviously my integers either can be 3, this okay, so it can be 3 of kind only, opening, closing, asterisk. So I am sure that there is no other element, so I'll inserted into stack 2. Now once this is done, now I can do a while loop on while st1 dot is not empty and st2 empty if st1 dot top is greater than st2 dot top, then we return false, because we need the opening bracket for sure to be less than, should come before, as it says left parenthesis must go before the corresponding right. So if we want to utilize asterisk as a closing bracket, I need its index to be after it, and then I do st1 dot pop simply st2 dot pop, and then I return so if both of them are empty, I return true, right? If none of them are if one of them is not empty, it will return false. So because then it doesn't mean they are balanced. Awesome, let me submit it. Okay, we got a wrong answer. Output is false, expected true. Okay, so asterisk star asterisk, let's run through it. So I got an asterisk, I will insert it into st1. Sorry, I got an opening bracket, I will insert it into st1, right? And then I got an asterisk, so I'll insert it into st2. Now what I do is, oh yeah, I just need to return if st1 is empty. Yeah, because if st2 is not empty, that's fine, because st2 can be treated as an the empty string, right? So I think it's not many cases I'm failing. 50 out of 58 is pass. Okay, so this case, let me see what is not empty. I think till here we are okay, and then I want to see with this input. Let's copy this. So what is remaining here? Oh, my bad, I'm not inserting the index. This should return false, and I was thinking, okay, so I should store indexes. I wasn't storing indexes, my bad. So this should be expected to be false. Okay, awesome. I think this should pass it now. Awesome, yeah. So I wasn't storing indexes, so because I was storing s of I, which was I was storing the string itself, the ASCII value of the opening bracket is greater than asterisk, so this was throwing sorry, my bad. So the ASCII value of opening bracket is less than asterisk, so this was never hitting, and it was always popping, so everything was getting empty, so I was getting true, whether but it should be false actually. So I should store the index, because index is important, because anyways I'm keeping a separate stack for opening and asterisk, so there is no need to insert the string itself, character itself, in the stack, right? Hope you guys enjoyed this question, and if so, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Thanks everyone.